Okay, it's about a week later. The Tenere 700 failed a warrant, as you saw, on brake disc thickness, which is 0.1 of a millimetre under spec. Got to be to the letter though, it's black and white, isn't it? Pads, if I'm doing discs, I might as well do pads as well. They're getting a little bit low, but not crazy low. And then steering head bearing. Steering head bearing is going to be done at the shop, but I've got some new kit. Check these out. These are Brembo, whatever they are, new brake discs. They're a two-piece. They look fantastic. I know nothing about them apart from Brembo is the name when it comes to brakes. The calipers and everything on the bike is Brembo as it stands. So we are doing Brembo discs. Now in the bike at the moment, and for the last 25,000 Ks, I've been running Brembo pads, Brembo sintered pads, because the OEM ones just didn't do it for me. So, I mean, they were good. There was nothing wrong with them, but I have heard that they eat discs, which is probably why the OEM discs are down. So we are going with these. I've been told that they are the duck's nuts when it comes to brake feel and stopping power. Interestingly, the Tenere 700 uses the same discs, pads as the VMAX 250, the R15 and the MT15. Interesting. Which probably explains why the bike's brakes are average. Okay, with that in mind, let's get into it. Let's put these brakes on the bike. And in true Mighty Car Mods fashion, the first thing we need to do is jack up the bike. So thanks to a good mate of mine who conveniently left the country for Australia, I now have a bike jack. And we learnt from experience, always put the locks in. It's going to be an interesting experience because I don't know where my tools for taking that wheel off are.
2 hours later.
Okay, since jacking the bike up, I've spent the last 20 minutes looking for my multi-nut thing, the tool that you put in the axle of the front wheel to undo it, essentially. I can't find it anywhere. I had one, I don't know what's happened to it. Luckily, I found these 19mm nuts and they fit perfectly in the axle to undo it. So we'll chuck them in there, put a socket on the end, and hopefully that'll undo it. Let's get into it. Long story short, this didn't work. I got shitty, lost my rag with it, gave up and went to bed. Fast forward to the next morning. Okay, what a mission. This is drawn on longer than I wanted it to. I wanted to get it done last night, but I went to get the front wheel off the bike and found out that I couldn't find my axle removal tool. You need the 19mm, so thank you very much to Matt down the road, who also rides the Tenere 700 and watches these videos. Shout out to Matt. He's made this up, which is going to do the job for me. So you're going to need the 19mm axle removal hex, I guess. You're also going to need a 6mm hex for removing the brake disc from the wheel. Let's get into it. Oh, look at that. Fits like a glove. Yep, there was no way I was undoing that the other night. Okay, before we undo that anymore, let's get the brake calipers off. Right, one caliper off. 2 calipers off. Axle out. Wheel out. Right, old disc off, new disc on. Now, I can't tell you anything about these apart from the fact that they are Brembo, and the name that everybody knows when it comes to brakes is Brembo, and I've been told that if you scrimp on discs you will regret it and you'll only do it once. So we are doing Brembo discs. The pads that I've had in the Tenere 700 for the past 25 odd thousand Ks are also Brembo, but we're giving something else a crack, and I'll show you those very shortly because we need to put them in as well. Okay, old brake disc is now an offering to the gods of speed. New brake disc is on. We turn the wheel over and we repeat the process. Let's see if I can undo these without the breaker bar.
A few minutes later.
Again, I feel the need to remind anyone watching that I am not a qualified or trained mechanic. So anything that I do, take it with a grain of salt. Because I don't know the best practice. I'm just making it up as I go along. Alright, wheel is done. Alright, here's the fun bit. Because getting this back on can be a pain in the rectum. So we've got an axle that needs to go through, we've got two spacers that need to go in. Oh, it was actually a lot easier than I anticipated. Okay, remind me to talk that up before we finish. Now we need to take the brake pads out. And the brake pads I'm using are these. I'm told they stick like proverbial to a blanket. It's always easier to push pistons back now, because with new discs and with new pads we're going to need all the space we can get. Put our retaining clips back in. Right, that's one side. Retaining clips. Do not forget the retaining clips, please. Retaining clips, done. Pad, caliper, back on. Do up the pinch bolts.
A few minutes later.
Okay, first ever ride on the new brakes, and testing them in the driveway, they do not work. Which is why we have a bedding in procedure to follow. But so far, bike feels okay. Okay, so the bedding in procedure that I've found basically consists of 50 k's an hour, hit the brakes, but don't come to a complete stop. Up to 50, slow down to 30. Yep, they're starting to come on now, actually. Oh, yeah. Oh, after that short little bedding in procedure. Oh, yeah, they're starting to bite good. Oh. Let's try the rear brake. See how that compares. Oh, not very good. Oh, it stops amazingly. Here we go. Emergency stop. With no ABS kicking in. Up to 50 kilometers an hour. 3, 2, 1. All right, time for a braking test. Done a little bit more bedding in on these brakes, and I think they are feeling really good. Alright, that was ABS kicking in. That was progressive braking, no ABS. And ABS kicked in right at the end there. So the brakes themselves, they don't have a massive amount of initial bite, but if you progressively pull stronger and stronger on the lever, load up the forks in the tyre, you've got an amazing amount of stopping power when you really crank it in. I don't know if that demonstration did a very good job of showing you what they're like, but I'm really impressed with these brakes. I think they're awesome. They're actually, and they're only, I've only done a couple of laps around the block bedding them in, but I think they're stronger brakes now than they were before with the OEM discs and the Brembo pads. Of course, the next thing to do is, when I wear these pads out, put some Brembo pads in there and see what the difference is. So there you have it. We've got new brake pads, new brake discs. I hope you're enjoying this little mini-series on getting the Tenere A700 its first warrant of fitness ever. We're going to be back with part 3, hopefully this week, which will be the steering head bearing and getting the warrant of fitness. And then we're off on a massive adventure up to Rotorua for the GS Rally 2023. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, chuck them in the comment box below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really love to have you along for the ride. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Hooroo!